Undecided. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. said that once for every touchdown catch this year at Ohio State. Welcome to Snap Judgments. They are brought to you by Buyers Auto. That is Bill Landis. I am Austin Ward, and we are reacting live to Marvin Harrison Jr.'s grand announcement that there is no announcement.
Yeah, he said undecided so many times because I guess you have to ask the question more than once after he says he's undecided. But that is the unfortunate nature of the position that Marvin finds himself in as he embarks on a Heisman journey here over the next couple of days where that's all he'll get asked about. But yes, undecided, which is like fine, like, 'cause he doesn't have to make his decision now. You and I standing here believe that eventually he will come around to the idea that it probably makes the most sense to go to the NFL. So I think that's where we are.
It makes the most sense.
Sense, C-E-N-T-S.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
30 plus million of them.
Yeah, which is a good reminder for people who buy any of the BS out there that Marvin's being offered an NIL package that is like similar to or exceeding what he would make in the NFL. Such a package does not exist.
We had this conversation last year about CJ Stroud and even Paris Johnson to a lesser extent. Yes, Ohio State has been pretty successful with NIL offers to their current roster.
Mm-hmm.
When someone is a top 10 guaranteed pick, as Marvin Harrison Jr. is, as Paris Johnson was, as CJ Stroud was, the guaranteed contract is $30+ million. So if you can get to $2 or $3 million for 1 year, I mean, that's good. That's a lot of money.
It sure is.
And it may give them something to think about. I'm just going to say it's unlikely to tilt the scales.
If it's true, weird NFL draft account that didn't exist before last week, I would like to know where that money is coming from because it's an awful lot of cash.
Doesn't even seem like a great investment, to be honest.
No. I said to you, if there's someone out there who's willing to pay that much money to an Ohio State football player, they should let Mark the draft and use it on everybody.
Yeah, that would, there was a recruit on Thursday that maybe could have used some of that money.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, because Marv said publicly that he's undecided, and I think it's right to take him at his word. He's the only one that can make that decision and reveal it. We have our opinions about what is likely to happen and project forward, but he's leaving the door open, and primarily he kept pointing to not winning the Big Ten, not playing in Indy, where his dad famously made his career, became a Hall of Famer, played for a Super Bowl winner, and coming up short in the game. And 3 years of that, as he said, the expectation when he arrived and for that class in 2021 is like, this is going to be easy. It's going to happen every single year. And things have flipped. I think there were times the veterans on that first team that Marvin Harrison Jr. was a part of, you could look at that and there was a sense of complacency or just taking it for granted that it was going to happen. And it's not a knock on anybody on that team. That just seemed to be the overwhelming feeling around it. Now, they couldn't have known about Connor Stallions. That's all a separate conversation. But for Marvin to think about that, if there's something that would entice him to come back, it's not going to be NIL. He's already made 7 figures playing college football. He's going to command that again if he returns as a Heisman Trophy finalist. And he comes from a family where his dad already built a comfortable life for them. He said pretty specifically, money would not be the factor. So it would be a competitive situation. Now, how can I say both of those things are at the same time? 30 million or 3 million? I don't know that Marv is necessarily wired that way. I'm not trying to have it both ways. But if those are actually on the table, 30 million becomes pretty hard to turn down. And it may well trump the fact that you did not get a set of gold pants or play for a national championship.
I mean, I believe him that the not beating Michigan and not going to the Big Ten championship, which is funny, like he didn't even say national championship. He was asked about that and he said, we haven't gotten close to that. Why would I talk about it? We have to accomplish the first 2 goals before we think about a national championship. And he did say, like, when he got here, it felt like almost a foregone conclusion that they were going to win that game at the end of the year, go to Indianapolis, and then go to the playoff. And obviously that hasn't happened for this. He made it to play in the playoff last year, but that route has not happened for Marvin nor his class on this journey here over the last 3 years. And I think it's a good message, right? And it's not even one that I think necessarily ends up ringing hollow if he decides to ultimately go pro, because he's a guy who I think has played really well in Michigan games, right? I think he individually has risen to the occasion in that game. They still haven't won them, but like to play that way and then to sit here with this giant decision weighing over him and saying like this is what's on his mind as he's trying to ponder it, I would hope anyway sends a good message to the rest of the guys in this building about what that game and then what getting to a Big Ten championship and ultimately getting a ring for this program means.
And he could have, if this was a done deal 100% in his mind, He could have made that decision the day after the game if he wanted to. I think the ultimate outcome is unchanged in my projection of it. But taking your time and talking about it that way and spending this month one way or the other, not immediately flying out to Malibu and working on your 40 time and being around, like we've seen him even earlier on Thursday in the Woody, back on the Monarch, and wanting to spend time around Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis and getting these guys ready for the Cotton Bowl. Like, that's the other part of it. Like, he was asked 5 times, 10 times, and the answer stayed the same, that he was undecided. That included playing in the Cotton Bowl. Like, I don't think you're going to have to wait forever for Marvin Harrison Jr. to decide.
No.
And it would be pretty surprising if he elected to play in the Cotton Bowl, to me. And I think part of that will also be the chance to hand down a little bit of the legacy the same way that Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave did for him 2 years ago. I'm not trying to play psychologist or guess. That only Marvin, again, can make those decisions and talk about that himself. And we will talk to him on Fridays, the podcast daily, if you want to join us for that. But, you know, I suspect that those factors will help alleviate some concerns about it. Am I leaving an unfinished legacy for Ohio State? Which I don't think he has to feel that way right now.
No, I don't think he has to. I mean, I get if he would, right? It's beating Michigan is really important. It's like the most important thing here. And the team that he's been on hasn't done it. It's not that he necessarily hasn't done it, right? I hope he doesn't quite feel that way. But the legacy thing is interesting. And like, if this dude decides to come back, like, he's an absolute legend. Like, I don't think it's going to happen. But if a guy who's going to be like the number 2 pick in the draft because you want to go beat Michigan, it's like, okay, we're going to write books about you. But even if he doesn't do that, I still think he holds, like, legendary status. Sounds weird and probably too much, right? But in that room, like in that receiver room, like, he is the new standard, I think. And it was already a really high standard. So for him to sit out here and talk about those things, and then I think to be cognizant of what you're talking about and wanting to make sure that the torch is passed in the right, in the right way, all that really matters to him. And I think even if he doesn't come back and try to beat Michigan one last time or try to win a Big Ten title ring one last time, I think that is like the lasting impression he will have on this program, is that, like, everyone now who walks through that door into the receivers room is going to try to be him. And he is the guy that everyone is chasing now. And maybe someday soon, with the way they recruit, that'll change quickly. But for now, I think he is the standard. And I would hope that he is proud of that.
Yeah, it is a true rarity for a wide receiver to make it to New York for the Heisman Trophy presentation. We don't think he's going to win, but it's still a tribute to him that he made it that far. He got snubbed brutally, in my opinion, in the Biletnikoff last year, and it's weirdly become a bit of a, I don't know, elusive target for Ohio State receivers to actually win that, despite their legacy with the last 5-6 years, and even certainly before that, very good players. Like, you vote for one or both of those awards?
Both.
You are not allowed to talk about the Heisman Trophy vote until it is confirmed on Saturday night.
Correct.
Were you surprised or not surprised that he made it to New York?
Not surprised.
Okay.
For reasons. Yes. No, honestly, still a little surprised. Like, I think people know what I mean by that, but I'm still a little surprised because, like, there's a strong, like, Southern voting block, right? And Malik Neighbors at LSU had really good numbers. And if there's, like, a separate geographical voting block from the South, like, I could see how it would have been split between Marvin and maybe Roman Dunze at Washington, the other 2 guys who are also the Biletnikoff finalists, because those guys had really good years. Like, last year, I thought it was a joke that Marvin didn't win the Biletnikoff. This year, I think he should still win. I voted for him to win. But, like, Malik Neighbors' stats are crazy. And Roma Dunze had an excellent season on a team that's in the playoffs. So, like, I think it's less of a travesty if he doesn't win it this year. But overall, it would be a travesty if Marvin Harrison Jr. leaves college football after the 2 years that he just had without a Biletnikoff trophy.
I'm putting down units. Marv is going to win the Biletnikoff.
Love it. I hope it happens.
We'll see. I believe that is announced on Friday. So Marv will be waiting for that. He'll be on the way to New York City to be honored as a Heisman Trophy finalist. Not as confident on that one that he would emerge with a trophy, but at least he'll get one.
Yeah. No, I mean, he'll get the treatment. He'll get the nice montage. His family will be up there on stage. Like, you do get some level of nice recognition for merely being a finalist. And we'll see if Desmond decides to talk spicy to Marvin, because I have a sneaking suspicion that he won't.
I bet he will.
Hmm.
I don't think he learned his lesson.
I guess he needs to.
Maybe Marv will respond. You know,
Yeah,
get a little sick of hearing it from Roman Wilson and then take it out on Desmond Howard.
maybe. I
If,
don't know.
my-
We'll see.
if he wouldn't do the dab for Byrne, maybe he'll fight Desmond Howard for me. I think that's more likely. I don't know. Maybe it's
It would be a memorable Heisman ceremony if Marvin punched Desmond Howard in the face.
make an impact. That's all I'm saying. That's how we've got to the end of Snap Judgments. Me advocating for Marvin to get in a fight on Saturday night in a very fancy suit. I don't know how we got there, but we arrived thanks to Buyers Auto. Best place for you to buy a new or used auto is Buyers Auto. These have been Snappy J's. He's Bill Landis. I'm Austin Ward. We will talk to you tomorrow morning with the Heisman Trophy finalist, Marvin Harrison Jr. See you there.